What if we all held hands and bought the US Constitution together? Asked Tina. She may have been joking, but her wish was about to come true. Because in crypto, you don't ask why, you ask why not. Like many other things in crypto, it really started with a meme, a joke, a way to connect with like minded strangers and have some fun. But the story is about much more than just memes and jokes. It's about the power of a community and crypto's ability to make the impossible more possible than ever. In November 2021, a first edition original copy of the US Constitution was put up for sale. This is one of the world's rarest documents. There are only 13 original copies of it left, and this is the only one privately owned. This is a historical document of epic proportions, the original with the people up for sale. A group of crypto enthusiasts on Twitter joked about buying it together until they realized crypto could actually enable them to do that. And so the organization known as ConstitutionDAO was born. The DAO in ConstitutionDAO stands for Decentralized Autonomous Organization. Simply put, it's a structure like a foundation or a business, but instead of having a CEO with decision making power, DAO rules are written as public piece of code and members of the DAO govern it by voting. The idea is that since the rules are hard coded and public, DAOs require less trust than companies where, say, a CEO might have the authority to single handedly send money to his own bank account. Crypto is about allowing cooperation between strangers with a minimum amount of trust required, and DAOs are a great example of that. Of course, DAOs, like all human governance structures, are more complicated than that, but the key things to remember is that DAOs enable people to pool their resources together for a common goal without trusting a central authority to manage and govern the money. It's also good to remember that even a year after Constitution DAO, the entire concept of DAOs is still very raw and experimental. But crypto being crypto, we like to experiment with millions of dollars. In this case, one Ether would have granted you a million people token with which you could vote on the future of the document if bought, things like where it would be displayed or what text would be written next to it. And so the DAO was created and word got out. The Constitution was set to be sold in 7 days, which gave the movement a sense of urgency to come together and get this done. And this is where the magic happened. Within 12 hours, the DAO had managed to raise $3 million, and more than 8,000 people joined the Discord channel. Success breeds success, and the snowball of public attention grew to epic proportions, with articles in every major newspaper and an appearance on CNBC. That supercharged marketing efforts, and even though the official goal was to raise $20 million, Constitution DAO was able to raise $47 million. The beautiful thing about Constitution DAO was that the median donation was about $200, and over 17,000 people from many different backgrounds sent money to help buy the Constitution. Going over the donation messages is such a perfect representation of what crypto is. Some are in it for the memes, some are in it for the freedom, some are in it to create a better future, and some have just found a sense of belonging. Either way, those are all people who cared enough about this crazy experiment to put their money where their mouth is. On the day of the auction, Constitution DAO used an Ethereum address to prove that they actually had the money. And this is the first time a crypto wallet was used as proof of funds for an auction at scale like this. As the bids climbed way above its expected price of $20 million, the crypto world was holding its breath and there was a feeling that this could actually happen. The bidders in auctions like these are anonymous, so it was impossible to know who was winning from watching the stream on YouTube. However, shortly after the document was sold for 43 million, Constitution DAO issued a message that they had unfortunately lost the bidding war. We later learned that the winning party was none other than billionaire and Citadel founder Ken Griffin, and I don't think it gets much more ironic than the people being outbid for the Constitution by a single billionaire. With crypto being crypto, now that the common goal had disappeared, the trading started. After all, there were $47 million worth of tokens, and no real purpose to the DAO that the Constitution was sold to someone else. The people tokens, a mere historical artifact with no purpose now that the bid failed and the DAO disbanded, were at one point worth $500 million. The crazy thing is that even now, a year later, people are trading tens of millions of worth of people tokens every day, even though there's really nothing behind it anymore. In a previous video, I talked about crypto being just a tool, and this is a prime example of that. No one can stop you from trading tokens of a dead project and keeping it in the world's top 200 tokens in value, no matter how ridiculous this sounds. That's just crypto. Constitution DAO was lightning in a bottle, the kind that crypto is well known for. As an early attempt at a DAO, it wasn't perfect. It wasn't really decentralized, as 15 core team members controlled the money, with 8 people required to move it. The fees needed to send Ethereum to the DAO were very high, sometimes more than $50 per donation, which made the funding and the refunds a lot less practical than they could have been, especially given that the median donation was $200. And being a somewhat decentralized organization, it was often confusing and chaotic. Eventually, ConstitutionDAO suffered the same fate that many things in crypto do. It was a 7-day experiment that blew to extraordinary proportions, with no one prepared to handle the fallout and no real plan or structure. By a core team's members' own admission, it wasn't always clear who had decision making power, and votes were often done in Discord because the actual blockchain voting mechanism was never implemented. But even though Constitution DAO was far from perfect, it showed the potential of using crypto and DAOs as an organizational structure for random people with a common goal. It also shows how crypto can be used to create novel human structures and how we aren't really close to unleashing the full potential of blockchain technology. Human structures are among the world's most complicated things, and it's unreasonable to expect an experiment to work flawlessly. That's not true just for DAOs, but for crypto in general, and that's the mindset with which I encourage you to get into crypto. If you want to learn more about DAOs, I put a link in the description. Thank you for watching, and shout out to my good friend Yuri for always supporting and giving me feedback on these videos. Cheers everyone, and I'll see you next week.